lost the power of their most important tool, which is interest rates. This was a subject of a vast literature in monetary policy research for 20 years. And the most common answer was some kind of a makeup strategy. So you would credibly promise to run inflation a little bit hot and above 2%, and that would anchor inflation at 2% to counter the times when it was below. So that was a very serious problem, which filled books worth of research. Then comes the pandemic, then comes the response to the pandemic, and then comes the pandemic inflation, not just in the United States, but everywhere.
That's because everything's based on the dollar.
Or change, or are these factors that brought us to that place, are they still out there waiting to come back? And books are written on this subject now. You can argue that, and some have argued that effectively the last 20 years before the pandemic were kind of a perfect storm of disinflation, and now that's all gone, and we're going into a more inflationary period that will be characterized by more supply shocks and things like that, and therefore more inflationary pressure.
You mean funding a war, a couple of wars?
Yeah. So are we going into such an? I don't know. I mean, all I can tell you, I think it's unknowable, and great theorists and researchers have different views on this. It's not something you can settle in advance. We'll have to see. I think our issue is right now trying to achieve a sufficiently restrictive stance of policy to bring inflation down to 2% over time. That's what we're really focused on.
Whenever any of us go, particularly institutions, go through tumultuous times, and goodness knows you've been through a tumultuous time, we look back and think, okay, what do we learn? So an after-action report. We look at the pandemic and the pandemic inflation. What would you say you learned in terms of macroeconomics, in terms of the economy, from that experience?
So hindsight is always a wonderful thing, right? I think the fair way to judge the actions that were taken is to put yourself in the place of legislators and policy, other and central bankers around the world. And there was no playbook. We hadn't seen a global economic shutdown. People were thinking that the pandemic might kill a whole lot of people, and that we wouldn't have a vaccine for 5 years, and you might not have an economy for 5 years. So these things were all very possible in March of 2020. And so we pulled out all the stops, and Congress pulled out all the stops. With the benefit of hindsight, could we have done a little bit less and had a little bit of inflation? I guess we could. But I think if you look overall at the performance of the U.S. economy, our economy is the strongest. We're actually also making the most progress on inflation, but we certainly have the strongest growth. We're back to prior growth trend, not just level, where we're actually back to the prior trend. The labor market, the last time we had this many consecutive months of unemployment below 4% was in the late 1960s, so it's more than 50 years ago. So
right, he's lying, okay? I'm going to get Gregory Macarino to come tell you the truth. And here you're going to hear Greg break it down. I'm not going to play you the full video, but he breaks it down very well. And I will leave a link in the description for this one, because I think you guys need to understand everything they say is not strictly the truth. They bend it.
Okay, everybody, here we go. It's me, Gregory Macarino, post-market report on this Wednesday, October 18th. 2023, people. Where do you want to start? I mean, I got paperwork all over this desk. It's freak show on a crazy scale. Let's start off with this. I got a lot to cover with you. So we heard from the supreme overlords today, and I'm referring to, of course, the Federal Reserve. So the Federal Reserve's beige book, the beige book. This is supposed to be, the Bible of economic activity here in the United States. Now, according to the beige book, we're doing good. Economy is fine. There's nothing really to worry about. What about this? What is Greg about to show you? Oh, you know how I love the Federal Reserve's website, because it's all right there. It's all right there. This is a chart here of real GDP according to the Federal Reserve and what they're seeing here. So if what the Federal Reserve is saying that the U.S. economy here we're doing well here. Actually, hold that thought. U.S. economy growth is strong. So the U.S. economy, our growth is strong. So again, that's the beige book. If that's really the truth, then why does the Federal Reserve have this chart here? Real GDP, obviously in decline. Why do they have this posted right on their website? If the economy, I don't get it. You see, well, let me think. Let maybe I'm missing something. Okay, Fed's beige book says the economy is strong. We're growing, but right on their own website, they're saying that GDP is declining. Oh, I don't get it. Can someone out here smarter than me explain this? Because you see, it's above my pay grade, quite obviously. We also found out, this is too much. And I forgot to discuss this earlier today. Our economy is so strong, according to the Federal Reserve's beige book. I'm laughing, but I shouldn't be laughing here. Mortgage demand is at a 28-year low. That's how strong our economy is. Great, it's fantastic. It's beautiful and lovely. You know it is because they're telling you it is. Let me explain something to you, maybe another way, or maybe touch on a topic that you and I have been speaking about for 10 freaking years. 10 freaking years. Are you ready to hear what that is? Okay, everyone. We have covered at length to the point of nauseum, and I mean this literally, that central banks are they're in a race to the bottom. They are deliberately destroying the purchasing power of their currency. They're doing this by design. Who can win this race to the bottom? And we are all paying for it. But I don't know. I don't see anybody doing a damn thing about it except you and I. I mean, this is deliberate, quite obviously. But again, the U.S. dollar is the prettiest belle here at the ball, and we knew it would remain that way. But it doesn't. That doesn't negate the fact. Thank you, Helen. Wow, that the U.S. dollar's purchasing power is evaporating. This is why we're seeing it. People don't understand the mechanism, even at its most basic level. Okay, is it just, for example, that this natural ice piece, this chapstick here, did this just miraculously gain in value, or is it that the dollar in this case is losing value, so it takes more dollars to buy this little piece of thing here? What do you think it is? Or maybe my cherished red stapler? Same thing. You understand? All these lovely things that we all carry around, these tracking devices. Oh, can you see that? It's my lady. Anyway. People, you gotta have a little fun once in a while. If you don't, this entire freaking, you lose your mind here. These little things that I do, it's like I can't help it. It's a coping mechanism. Now, honestly, look, people, the currency situation here is we're in a global currency breakdown. The entire world right now is breaking down. And we are seeing the effect of this by wars, expanding wars, the propagation of war, funding for war, on top of inflation that continues to outpace everything else, especially every projection. I mean, this drives me nuts. How do you, let me, look, we're all friends, right? And me and Lava Girl and Perry and all my good friends here, we can discuss anything, right? Okay.
I'm going to leave it there, guys, because Gregory has an awful lot to say, and this is quite a long video. It's like 34 minutes and 45 seconds long for Gregory. So I'm going to leave a link in the description. If you guys are going to go watch what he has to say, because he has an awful lot to say, and he does break it down. He does talk an awful lot of truth when it comes down to what's going on. And he will tell you, if you go follow some back of his other videos, he tells you what's going to come. And he tells you about what the Fed's going to say next, etc., etc. And not be funny, but the Fed lies. He just came on live and told you that, US economy is as strong as the dollar. Strong, yes, the dollar will be strong, but it's collapsing. Your purchasing power is devaluing, and not being funny, but the dollar is part of the problem the world has, because it's just that one currency that rules the world right now. Everybody has to purchase on that. So when the dollar inflates, our purchasing power inflates. We lose money to a certain extent. I think that's right. Ooh, I don't know. Maybe I got it wrong. Anyway, these are the best. Gregory Mannarino is probably likely the better person to explain how these macroeconomic things work. All I understand is that the world is crashing. We're in a situation where wars are just continuing. We're likely to have more problems in terms of terrorist attacks. Whether they do it or not, I don't know. Whether the people that are coming on shore from foreign lands are terrorists, I don't know. We can't say. All I can say to you is this: we have to be careful. We have to invest in the future if there is going to be one after this. Put it that way. Anyway, Digitech Lifestyle out. Like and subscribe. Take care of yourself, guys. Later.
Government's interest expense will increase more between 2022 and 2024 than in the 51 years. Interest expense will increase more between 2022 and 2024 than in the 51 years prior. And with about 30% of government debt that needs to be rolled over the next 12 months, this could become a big drag on the economy. Now, the second way it affects the economy is corporate borrowers. Corporate debt is similar to government debt in which it's not all due at the same time, adding to this lag effect. Now, most companies, sort of like the government, they spread out their debt, so there's only a small amount that's actually maturing in any 1 year. So it can take time until the more expensive debt replaces the cheaper maturing debt.